So today we're talking about the importance of culture. I'm David Swartz, offensive coordinator. I have head coach Bill Cafferata and coach Cody Gould, who is our minister of culture. So let's talk about it, guys. Importance of culture. Why do we value it so much?
Culture for us is the most important part of our program. It's our baseline, it's our guiding principle, and without it, we really don't have anything to fall back on. It really is the gas that we put in the tank, and it's how we hold each other accountable as a program, whether it's coaches, players, if it's peer-to-peer, coach to player, however we look at that, that culture is what kind of glues us together. And I know, Cody has an interesting job title as Minister of Culture. And, when he first came in, I mean, sure, he works with our players and does offensive skill work and shooting, but we value culture so much that we actually have a position for it. So Cody, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do to help us generate a positive culture?
Yeah, for sure. Personally, I like to think of culture as the reason why these kids want to come to practice. Without a good culture, we have essentially nothing. We just have lacrosse players. We want to build a team. We want to build togetherness. We want everyone to feel welcomed, encouraged, and empowered. And the way that we do that is, by holding each other accountable, by using positive reinforcement, whether it's the coaching staff to the kids or from the kids to the other kids, or it doesn't matter what grade you are, we're all one big, large family. And that kind of starts with the coaching staff and then has now trickled down to the kids. And now that these players have adopted that, it's actually working backwards to the coaching staff as well. Again, we have that we've built rapport with our players over a few years now, and built that mutual respect that I think is really important.
We use the phrase "win with culture" first, right? Win the culture battle, and we play teams that, when we go into the game, it might be a tough game, tough opponent, or even if it's not as tough an opponent, and we feel that we want to make sure that we keep that culture. It's keeping composure. It's that accountability that you talk about, and we win that culture battle. And things can go one of two ways. You can go in, win a game, you're beating a team by 10 goals, you're losing a game by 10 goals. Either way, you have to win that culture. But that culture is a battle within yourself, within your own team. It doesn't matter what happens. There's adversity. You have to win the culture game against opponents, within yourself, with the officials, right? No arguing with officials. And that's something that we win within ourselves. But it's not just on game day. It starts in the off season. It starts through fall ball. It starts through winter break. Through the season, that culture is carried the entire way. What are some examples, David, of culture from this season that we can lean on, and this being a special season with COVID being an issue, and how our guys handled that?
Yeah, so I think that, one of the biggest things that we talk a lot about is equity. And where I think that really came into play this year was, when the coaches are just in charge and they just tell you what to do, and the coaches are the only ones to get on you. When things go wrong, it's never going to work. And so in this season that we saw that players were taking so much ownership over what happened in the fall, and particularly what's been happening, we're filming this around New Year's, what's been happening over winter break, where conditions are completely not ideal. Getting people together is hard. And there's so many barriers. And I can't remember any complaining. Can't remember any excuses being made. And I feel like, at the core of our culture is that equity and we're going to talk about a lot of these pieces in more videos, but that equity where we value your opinion, you have the answers within you. Yeah, we're the adults that are in charge, but there's kids that we've coached that are smarter than us. They're just younger right now, right? And so a lot of kids don't get treated that way often. So my big thing is when at the beginning of implementing the culture, it's always the hardest. And there is a certain toughness aspect that we'll talk about later. But
mental
at the
and
same
physical.
at the same time, if you completely ignore that this is their team and this is about them and we're trying to help them, and once you can kind of navigate that to get back to that ownership piece, you will see what we really need, which is another thing that we talk about, which is we can't all be our best all the time. And so if I have ownership over something and I see someone not doing their best, I'm not just going to let them. If you run a business and you have an employee and they're screwing up, you're just going to sit there and watch, or are you going to help them, or you maybe fire them, or like whatever the case is. And so, for me, it's about equity. It's about being a team with the kids and valuing them, while still holding them accountable, but mostly helping them hold themselves accountable, each other.
I think a way to really break this down and what you can boil our culture to, and there's a lot of buzzwords and we'll get into detail on those in some other videos, but for us, like, accountability is the number one. And what we've really kind of developed over the last few years on the coaching side, but more importantly on the player side, is it's cool to be accountable.
Yeah.
There's no, we'll get into depth on this, but a big phrase of ours is, if you permit it, you promote it. Well, our players don't permit bad behavior. They promote positive behavior. And in permitting that positive behavior, it increases our output of our culture, which ties us into being a tighter team, a stronger team, a tougher team. We've hit on a lot of good points. I just want to throw it back. Cody, is there anything we missed you can think of here?
Yeah, I think there's something that from a coach's situation that I want to talk about, and that's really understanding as a coaching staff how much we raise our voice, which is almost never.
Yeah.
And that is part of our culture, that we talk to our players like they're our equal. We're not yelling at people. We're not yelling at refs. We're reacting to our world in a way that is coming from a place of power, but a place of quiet and strong power. And we recently had a situation where someone came to visit our practice, and Coach Caff mentioned my position, and this person that showed up at practice said to Coach Caff, Cody must be the guy that whips everyone into shape. And Caff said, that's the exact opposite that we do. And I think that's something, a little bit of an important story. And Caff, if you want to kind of hit on that, because I know that's something it's
positive accountability, right? We point, if you point out the positive, if you emphasize the positive, if you encourage, that you're going to get better output. Look, if I had this conversation and brought these things up to my high school coaches, I don't even want to know what the response would have been. I'd be curious to find out. Maybe they'll see this video, but we're just doing things differently. It's a new time. We're using our words. We're using our ability to communicate. And Cody's a communication expert, and that's really where we get a lot of our kind of zen from. And it's been on and off the field, in the classroom, in real life, and with the young men that we've seen graduate and move on. We've just seen absolute total transformations in these kids, and us as coaches. I mean, I've completely changed myself. I know you guys have as well. And I feel better about it at the end of the day. I'm leaving practice feeling good about what we're doing, and we've been successful. But again, we don't measure our success with on-field success. We measure our success with, are we keeping the culture intact? And a big thing we also talk about is leaving it better than you found it. And that goes for the players. Every senior class is the first thing we say: you better leave it better than you found it. We've been doing that, and I'm proud of our players, proud of our coaching staff, and hope we can keep this rolling on, and really help out, get these guys ready for the real world.
Yeah. So I'll take us out with one of our favorite sayings, which is culture over everything.
Culture over everything.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Bill Cafferata, Dripping Springs Lacrosse Program Director and Varsity Head Coach. Thanks for tuning in. Please comment if you have any questions about the video or have suggestions for future content. Most importantly, be sure to like and subscribe.